Prepare to witness 100 of the strangest and most bizarre old photos ever captured. Each image reveals shocking moments from history that will leave you questioning how these events were even possible. Let's dive in right now. This Chinese woman's small, deformed feet are a result of foot binding, a beauty practice common in the 19th century China. Small feet were seen as elegant, but this excruciating tradition caused lifelong disabilities. Despite the pain, it reflected extreme cultural standards of beauty and status. A Mangbetu tribe child's elongated head is the result of lipombo, a practice from 1930s Congo where babies' heads were wrapped to create this shape. For the Mangbetu people, it symbolized intelligence and beauty, showing how different cultures have transformed the body to reflect their ideals. This 17th century metal mask was used to restrain those considered insane. The mask prevented patients from speaking or moving comfortably, showcasing how mental illness was once treated with cruelty. It serves as a chilling reminder of the primitive and painful methods used before modern medicine. In 1954, a meteorite crashed through the roof of Ann Hodges' home in Alabama, hitting her while she slept. She became the first and only known person to be struck by a meteorite. This 1 in a billion occurrence highlights the randomness and unpredictability of the universe. Princess Fatim Kum of Persia had 145 suitors, 13 of whom reportedly took their own lives after being rejected. Though her beauty doesn't fit modern standards, in early 1900s Persia, she represented an ideal. Her story shows how beauty and power can impact lives in unimaginable ways. The California Alligator Farm in Los Angeles allowed visitors to picnic alongside alligators from 1907 to 1953. While these reptiles were reportedly trained, such interactions would be considered highly dangerous today. This popular attraction reveals how differently we once viewed animal safety. In 1930s London, human alarm clocks like Mary Smith earned their living by waking up workers, shooting dried peas at windows for 6 pence a week. Before alarm clocks were affordable, this clever system ensured workers wouldn't oversleep, showing the creative solutions people used before technology. The radium girls of the 1920s were exposed to radiation while painting watches with glowing radium. These women unknowingly absorbed the dangerous substance, often glowing in the dark themselves. Sadly, many suffered severe health issues, but their case helped improve workplace safety laws. In Victorian England, working-class women pulled carts for labor in rural areas. Far from the glamorous image of Victorian society, these women faced physically grueling work. The image reminds us of the unseen struggles many endured in an area that often romanticizes elegance and refinement. The 19th century mass shaving machine could shave 12 men at once, but it failed due to its lack of precision and safety. Men were often left with cuts or uneven shaves, highlighting how not every technological innovation manages to solve the problems it sets out to fix. Beekeepers often created bee beards at fairs, placing a queen bee near their face to attract thousands of worker bees. This daring practice showcased the close relationship between humans and nature, as beekeepers handled these vital but dangerous creatures with skill and bravery. In Romania in 1946, a bear was used as a curious treatment for back pain. The bear applied its weight to the patient's back, acting as a form of massage. This bizarre therapy highlights how people once used whatever resources were available to relieve pain. Babies in 1930s London were placed in cages hanging outside apartment windows for fresh air. Doctors recommended this practice, believing the fresh air would strengthen the baby's health. Although strange by today's standards, it was considered normal at the time, with no injuries reported. At the San Juan de los Lagos Fair in 1940s Mexico, a couple dressed in religious attire participates in a festival for miracles. Wearing a crown of thorns and carrying a cactus, the woman symbolizes faith and suffering, embodying the physical and spiritual devotion central to the event. In 1913 Mongolia, a woman was locked in a wooden box as punishment, left to starve. This brutal form of execution served as both punishment and public humiliation, showing how justice in many societies was designed to not only penalize, but publicly shame offenders. Walter Yeo, a World War I sailor, was one of the first to receive skin graft surgery in 1917 after a facial injury. His surgery, led by Dr. Harold Gillies, was a pioneering moment in plastic surgery, laying the groundwork for the reconstructive procedures we have today. Notorious criminal Alvin Karpis attempted to evade capture by having his fingerprints surgically altered. Despite his efforts, the FBI still managed to identify him. leading to his 1936 arrest. His story shows the extreme lengths criminals will go to avoid justice, and how often they fail. In 1875 Shanghai, women were punished by wearing a kang, a large wooden plank around the neck that prevented them from lying down or eating. This humiliating punishment was used to shame offenders and prevent them from performing basic tasks, reflecting the severity of justice in China. Flour companies during the Great Depression began printing floral patterns on sacks after noticing poor families used them to make clothes. This thoughtful gesture allowed struggling families to create more dignified clothing, showing how even businesses responded to hardships with creativity. Dr. Rufus Weaver preserved the entire nervous system of Harriet Cole, a hospital janitor who donated her body to science in 1888. This medical achievement provided invaluable insight into human anatomy, contributing to scientific progress. It's a testament to early pioneers in medicine. In 1922 Ireland, two men participate in a wedding tradition as straw boys, believed to bring luck and health to the newlyweds. Their faces obscured by large straw masks, they reflect Ireland's rich cultural heritage and the importance of symbolism in festive rituals. Llewellyn's record-breaking catch of a black sea bass weighing 425 pounds made waves in 1903. This California fishing story shows the sheer size and power of marine life, with the bass being so large it had to be tied to the side of the boat. Horse diving shows in the early 1900s featured horses leaping from towers into water, sometimes with riders. This popular but dangerous act eventually ceased due to animal welfare concerns. It's an example of how entertainment once valued spectacle over safety, both for animals and humans. Jack the Baboon worked at a South African railway station in 1890, operating signals for trains. Despite being an animal, Jack never made a mistake in his duties. His intelligence and reliability showcased the surprising capabilities of animals when trained with patience and care. Two steelworkers balance on a beam high above New York City during the construction of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in 1930. This iconic image of men casually enjoying lunch captures the daring and risky conditions construction workers faced while building the city's famous skyline. In 1930s Budapest, a woman wears a mask with a painted smile as part of the Smile Club, created to combat high suicide rates. The club promoted smiling as a way to boost morale, reflecting the belief in positive thinking as a remedy for societal despair. The 1932 Dynasphere, an electric, single-wheeled vehicle, could reach speeds of up to 25 miles per hour. Although its futuristic design promised to revolutionize transportation, the vehicle was too impractical for daily use. It remains a fascinating glimpse into early attempts at personal electric vehicles. Soldiers in the 1930s used gas masks while peeling onions in training camps. This humorous image shows them finding a practical use for their equipment, preventing tears while preparing meals. It's a lighthearted moment amidst the more serious environment of military life. The cyclomer, an amphibious bicycle invented in 1932, allowed riders to travel on land and water. Despite its inventive design, it was too heavy and difficult to maneuver, making it unpopular. This quirky invention highlights humanity's constant drive to push the boundaries of transportation. In 1938, a family in Wembley Park, London, wore gas masks while swimming at a pool. The looming threat of war led to widespread distribution of gas masks, and even leisure activities were colored by the anxiety of impending conflict. It's a snapshot of life under tension. In 1957, an entire house was transported by barge across water in Tiburon, California. This practice allowed for the relocation of homes to areas difficult to access by land, offering a unique solution to construction challenges in remote areas. It's a feat of engineering ingenuity. Creoferini, known as the woman with a slender body and hairy limbs, was exhibited in 19th century sideshows due to her condition, hypertrichosis. Discovered in Laos, she was marketed as a missing link between humans and primates, illustrating society's fascination with physical anomalies. Model Frances Richards poses with a long cigarette holder in a 1960s photo shoot, capturing the glamour of smoking during that era. Over time, however, public awareness of smoking's health risks changed its image, leading to dramatic shifts in both health policy and popular culture. Francesco Lentini, known as the three-legged man, was born with a parasitic twin that resulted in his third leg. Rather than hiding, he embraced his uniqueness and performed in sideshows across America. Lentini's story is one of resilience and finding strength in what makes you different. George and Willie Muse, albino twins, were kidnapped by a circus and forced to perform as Martian men in freak shows. After years of captivity, their mother found and fought for their release. Their tragic story highlights the exploitation faced by many during the Sideshow era. This anthropologist proudly displays a pair of shrunken heads from the Shuar people of the Amazon, known as tsansas. These heads were war trophies believed to capture the enemy's soul. This practice, while outlawed today, was part of the Shuar's deep spiritual and cultural traditions. Fannie Mills, known as the Ohio Bigfoot Girl, gained fame in the late 19th century due to a rare condition called elephantiasis, which caused her feet to grow to enormous sizes. Despite her challenges, Fanny became a popular attraction, using her condition to earn a living. The BMW Isetta, nicknamed the Bubble Car, was a small, economical vehicle that became popular in the 1950s. Despite its tiny size, the Isetta could seat up to 4 people and was perfect for post-war European cities, showcasing how innovation shaped post-war recovery. In 1951, Palisades Amusement Park in New Jersey held a leg beauty contest, where women wore pillowcases over their heads, allowing judges to focus solely on their legs. This unique take on beauty competitions reflects the sometimes arbitrary nature of beauty standards in society. Hugo Gernsback, a pioneer in science fiction and technology, demonstrates his television glasses in 1963. These early wearable devices promised a personal viewing experience, though they never caught on. Gernsback's vision of wearable technology was ahead of its time, anticipating today's tech innovations. Outdoor urinals like this one from 1900 were common in Paris to improve public hygiene before indoor plumbing was widespread. Though odd by today's standards, these urinals were once a practical solution to the sanitation problems in growing cities. This 1900 anti-electricity propaganda poster reflects early years of new technology. At the time, electricity was met with skepticism, with warnings about potential dangers. Campaigns like this one promoted traditional lighting methods, reminding us how technological advancements often face resistance. Mardi Gras in New Orleans is famous for its wild and mysterious costumes, and this 1903 photo of a woman in an elaborate mask captures that spirit. The tradition of wearing masks during Mardi Gras allowed people to shed their daily identities and embrace anonymity for a night. Josephine Myrtle Corbin, the four-legged girl, was born with a rare condition called dipagus, resulting in a parasitic twin attached to her pelvis. Despite her challenges, Myrtle led a full life, performing in sideshows and eventually marrying and having children. A World War I soldier wears steel gauntlets and a helmet with dagger-shaped slits. These close combat weapons were used in trench warfare, where soldiers often engaged in brutal hand-to-hand fighting. This gear illustrates the harsh and unforgiving nature of combat in the trenches of World War I. Strange beauty contests, groundbreaking inventions, and even battlefield gear tell us about the diverse experiences of humanity. But our relationship with technology has always been complicated. A Red Cross dog in a gas mask prepares for a search and rescue mission in World War I. Trained to locate wounded soldiers on the battlefield, these dogs risk their lives alongside humans. It's a reminder of the critical role animals have played in human conflicts throughout history. This 1881 photo from Georgia shows a man standing beside a large clay kavivri, an ancient Georgian vessel used for storing wine underground. These vessels could preserve wine for decades, connecting Georgia's modern winemaking traditions with its ancient roots. Paul Alexander spent most of his life inside an iron lung after contracting polio as a child. This metal cylinder helped him breathe using negative pressure, allowing him to pursue his studies and even become a lawyer, a testament to the human spirit's resilience against physical limitations. World War I sound finders use large acoustic horns to detect approaching enemy aircraft before radar technology was invented. By amplifying distant sounds, these devices helped soldiers locate planes in time to warn their comrades, showcasing the ingenuity required in early air defense. Students in the Philippines wear anti-cheating hats during exams. These paper hats, which blocked students from peeking at others' answers, reflect the lengths educators would go to ensure fairness in the classroom. It's a lighthearted yet effective approach to promoting academic honesty. A massive pile of bison skulls from the late 19th century sits outside a Michigan Carbon Works factory. The skulls were used to produce fertilizers and glue. This haunting image symbolizes the devastating near extinction of bison during a period of rampant overhunting in North America. Max Factor Jr., a Hollywood makeup artist, invented the ice mask in the 1940s to reduce facial swelling after late-night parties. Stars would wear these peculiar masks to refresh their faces, reflecting the extremes celebrities went to maintain their looks in early Hollywood. A 1955 English beauty pageant took a twist as contestants wore hoods, allowing judges to focus on their posture rather than their faces. This contest aimed to redefine beauty by promoting grace and physical alignment, reminding us how beauty standards have evolved over time. During World War II, soldiers sprayed DDT and kerosene to combat malaria in Italy, unaware of the long-term health risks of the chemicals. Although effective against mosquitoes, DDT posed significant dangers, illustrating how wartime innovations sometimes came with unintended consequences. In 1911 China, brides walked to their weddings with their faces hidden behind baskets, following a tradition that symbolized modesty and protected against evil spirits. This ancient custom of hiding the bride's face was a ritual that added layers of meaning to the wedding ceremony. The stories of innovation, strange traditions, and the cost of human progress continue to fascinate us. Let's dive further into moments that shaped history in surprising ways. The 1949 jet tanning machine was a device designed to apply a spray tan without the sun. Promoted as a way to get a quick tan, this curious invention reflected the growing obsession with beauty trends in the mid-20th century. The 1941 glamour cap was a suction-based beauty device that women used to revitalize their skin. This unusual beauty treatment reflects the extremes society has gone to in pursuit of youth and radiance, mirroring today's obsession with cosmetic enhancements. The Battle of the Somme in World War I saw more than 1.5 million artillery shells fired in a week, leaving battlefields covered in empty shell casings. This image of thousands of discarded shells highlights the sheer scale and destruction during one of history's deadliest battles. Black prisoners in 1905 anticipated in degrading barrel races, a form of prison entertainment. These activities, created for the amusement of guards, reflect the inhumane conditions prisoners faced and the systemic racial inequalities in early 20th century America's justice system. In 1917, Elsie Wright and Frances Griffiths photographed themselves with what they claimed were real fairies, known as the Cottingley fairies. These hoaxed images fooled many, including Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and remain one of history's most famous examples of photographic trickery. A radiology nurse in 1918 wears heavy lead clothing to protect against radiation exposure, unaware of the full risks involved. Early radiology lacked proper safety protocols, and this image captures the outrage and sacrifice of those working in emerging fields of science. Two women in Montreal wear plastic face masks during a 1939 snowstorm. These unusual masks were designed to shield their faces from harsh winter winds, showing how practicality and fashion have often intersected, even in challenging weather conditions. In 1930s Hungary, women undergoing cosmetic procedures used devices to remove freckles. This image of a woman having her nostrils blocked during the procedure illustrates society's long-standing pursuit of physical perfection through sometimes uncomfortable treatments. At a 1956 chiropractic convention, 3 women compete in a perfect posture contest. Participants had to stand on scales to demonstrate balanced weight distribution, with the winner achieving an exact 50-50 split. This contest emphasized posture as a key aspect of physical beauty. A World War II campaign poster promoted the anti-malarial drug Atabrine to American troops in the Pacific. Soldiers were encouraged to take the drug regularly to prevent malaria, highlighting how health campaigns were crucial in keeping armies healthy during overseas deployments. Just when you think you've seen it all, history has more surprises in store. Get ready for even stranger moments that will completely change how you see the past. In 1932 England, a circus trainer is photographed inside the mouth of an elephant, demonstrating the impressive bond between humans and animals in circus performances. Though once a popular form of entertainment, today the use of animals in circuses is controversial. This 1945 image from Southeast Asia shows an elephant helping to transport supplies to an American plane. Elephants were vital in military operations, especially in areas where vehicles couldn't pass, reflecting the unique ways animals have supported humans in wartime efforts. In 1936, the New South Wales Police in Australia participated in a Quirky competition, transforming motorcycles into carriages by attaching carts behind them. This playful event captured the lighter side of police work, blending humor and practicality in an unusual race. A Los Angeles police officer in the 1920s transports a detainee in a metal cell attached to a motorcycle. This mobile jail was a practical solution at the time, though the image of a detainee in such a large cage-like structure evokes questions about dignity and justice. Women wearing giant papier-mâché heads during a 1930 Mardi Gras celebration in Venice Beach, Los Angeles, stand out among hundreds of revelers. These oversized heads, with exaggerated features, added an element of playful spectacle to one of the area's most colorful festivals. The living skeleton and Fat Man were a popular attraction in the early 20th century sideshows. These performances played on extreme physical differences for entertainment, reflecting society's fascination with the human body's extremes, often at the cost of the performer's dignity. In 1938, Maryland inventor George Stern demonstrated a non-flammable liquid he created for special effects in horror films. This liquid, which evaporated quickly without burning, helped create dense fogs on set, contributing to the eerie atmosphere that defined early horror cinema. A postal worker in 1913 holds a child inside a mailbag, highlighting an unusual practice in the early days of parcel post. When the USPS first began accepting larger packages, some families took advantage of this by mailing their children, as long as they weighed under 11 pounds. Massive hollow iron floats were used during World War II to suspend anti-submarine nets, which protected American ports from enemy submarines. These floats, seen in this image with a security guard, were essential to coastal defense, reflecting the technological innovations born out of wartime necessity. Women wearing wooden swimsuits in Washington in 1929 found the concept innovative but impractical. While the idea was to use wood's lightness to assist in swimming, the rigid material proved cumbersome and uncomfortable, preventing this creative idea from becoming a mainstream fashion trend. Just when you think history couldn't get any stranger, it always finds a way. The next moments blend creativity and risk in ways you'd never expected. A Miss Lovely Eyes contest in Florida in 1930 focused solely on contestants' eyes, with the rest of their faces covered. This unique beauty competition reflected the era's fascination with specific physical features and how contests were designed to entertain while highlighting different aspects of beauty. A British chamber pot from the early 19th century featured a bust of Napoleon Bonaparte. This household item served as a humorous insult during the Napoleonic Wars, reflecting how everyday objects were sometimes used to mock political figures during times of conflict. A 1936 photo shows a woman using a mechanical device designed to reduce fat from her legs. Despite its promises, medical studies later proved that such machines couldn't eliminate fat through vibration or compression alone, making the device more of a gimmick than a legitimate solution. Osa Johnson, an American adventurer, takes an improvised bath in Kenya in 1923 with the help of a local woman. The scene captures the contrast between Johnson's exploration and the everyday realities of life in Kenya, showcasing both cultures through a shared moment. In the 1924 Paris flood, the Seine River rose 24 feet, submerging the streets. Cafe chairs were lined up to create makeshift bridges so pedestrians could cross without getting wet, offering a snapshot of the resilience and ingenuity of Parisians in the face of disaster. In 1950s France, women wore sun-blocking face masks to protect their skin from the sun's rays. Pale skin was considered a status symbol at the time, and these masks reflect society's changing attitudes toward beauty, where avoiding a tan became fashionable. During the Spanish flu pandemic in 1918, women wore inhalation masks connected to devices designed to filter the air and protect against the virus. This photo shows one woman reading a book while wearing the mask, offering a glimpse into how people adapted to life during a global health crisis. The Stockholm Telephone Tower, built in 1887, connected over 5,000 telephone lines standing 262 feet tall. It was a vital hub for the city's communication. As telephone lines became underground, the tower became obsolete and was later decommissioned in 1913. A young girl in 1890 with wooden and leather prosthetics offers a glimpse into the early days of prosthetic development. Custom made by craftsmen, these early devices were manually crafted without the advanced technology of today, reflecting the challenges faced by those in need of prosthetics. Haruo Nakajima, the actor who portrayed Godzilla, stands next to co-star Momoko Kochi in 1954. The Godzilla suit, weighing 220 pounds, made Nakajima's performance physically demanding. This photo from the set shows the effort and endurance required to bring the iconic monster to life. Pie-eating contests were a popular event at beaches and parks in the 1930s. Contestants had to lean forward with their hands behind their backs and try to eat as quickly as possible. These competitions were a lighthearted form of entertainment that brought people together for summer fun. Swedish-American actress and singer Anne Margaret performs for American troops in Vietnam in 1966. Her participation in USO tours highlighted the critical role entertainers played in boosting the morale of soldiers during wartime, offering them moments of respite amidst the chaos of war. A German police officer learns resuscitation techniques in 1946 as part of post-World War II efforts to reform Germany's institutions. The Allied occupation forces emphasized democratic values and modernized police training, ensuring officers could respond to civilian emergencies and public service duties. A security guard patrols a massive pile of hollow iron floats used during World War II to suspend anti-submarine nets. These devices were vital in protecting American ports from enemy submarines, highlighting the scale of technological innovation required for coastal defense during the war. Max Factor Jr.'s 1940s ice mask invention helped Hollywood stars reduce facial swelling after long nights. This peculiar beauty device showcases the lengths celebrities would go to maintain their glamorous looks, offering a glimpse into the often unusual beauty routines of early Hollywood. In 1881 Georgia, a man stands beside a massive clay kavivri used for aging wine underground. These ancient Georgian vessels were key to preserving wine for centuries, and some are still in use today, offering a remarkable connection between modern winemaking and ancient practices. A British soldier in World War I wears a steel gauntlet and dagger-shaped slits in his helmet. These protective measures, designed for trench warfare, show how brutal and close combat often was in the trenches of Europe. It's a glimpse into the harsh realities faced by soldiers on the front lines. Radiology nurses in 1918 wore full lead protection to shield themselves from the dangers of radiation. At a time when little was known about radiation's effects, these heavy aprons and gloves were their only line of defense, highlighting the courage of those working in emerging medical fields. A postal worker in 1913 cradles a child in a mailbag, part of an era when parents could legally send children through the postal service. While it sounds absurd now, it was a practical way to save on travel costs for families at the time, though the practice was short-lived. In 1929, women in wooden suits tried to use buoyant materials to aid swimming, but the heavy, rigid design made the suits uncomfortable. Though a creative attempt, it was a short-lived fad that didn't quite make a splash in the world of fashion. The towering telephone lines of the Stockholm Telephone Tower connected over 5,000 lines across the city in 1887. This early telecommunications hub was a marvel of engineering at the time, but became obsolete with the introduction of underground wiring. During World War II, soldiers wore gas masks to protect against chemical warfare. This 1917 photo of a Red Cross dog in a gas mask highlights the lengths military forces went to safeguard both humans and animals on the battlefield in a dangerous and uncertain environment. Swedish actress Anne Margaret leaves the stage after performing for American troops in 1966 Vietnam. Her participation in USO tours helped raise morale among soldiers, showcasing the importance of entertainers who provided comfort and a sense of normalcy in war zones. The sound finders of World War I used large acoustic horns to detect approaching enemy aircraft before radar existed. These devices allowed soldiers to amplify distant sounds, giving them valuable time to prepare for aerial attacks, showcasing early innovations in air defense. Paul Alexander, who spent most of his life inside an iron lung after contracting polio as a child, became a lawyer despite his condition. His remarkable story of perseverance highlights the resilience of the human spirit in the face of life-changing physical challenges. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the strangest moments in history. If you enjoyed these unbelievable photos, don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories every week. See you in the next video.